Now that we've looked at why random sampling is important and some examples of samples that are random and give us good representative samples and some that are going to give us biased issues, we're going to look at some sampling strategies that will give you a random sample as well as some that are going to give you a biased sample. So our good representative samples are going to come from simple random, systematic, stratified, and cluster. We'll go through those in just a little bit. And then our bad samples are going to be the convenience and voluntary response. And then cluster falls under that one as well. So cluster, it's going to depend on how you set it up as to whether you're going to get a good or a bad sample out of that. So let's start with the first one on the good list, simple random sample. This is one you're already familiar with. This is a sample of size n from a population where everybody has the same probability of being chosen. So you could think of this as a lottery system or putting names in a hat and drawing n number of names out at random. So when it says that every sample has that same probability of being chosen, what that means is if I look at this sample of 12 people, I have the same probability that I would get all 4 maroon as I would 1 maroon, 1 blue, and 2 greens, for example. So every possible combination has the same probability of occurring. Okay, we abbreviate that one SRS. If you ever see that, it's pretty common nomenclature for just a simple random sample. Systematic is one we've actually touched on a little bit already in this chapter. This one you want to select a starting point at random, so that's where you're going to get your random element from. And then you're going to select every kth person of the population. So if we look at this population of 12 people, looks like they randomly started with person number 2, and then they went every third person. So if I go 1, 2, 3, that gives me person 5. 1, 2, 3 gives me person 8. 1, 2, 3 gives me person 11. And you would just continue that process until you get through all of your population. So some other examples of this one: stand outside of a supermarket and ask every 5th person leaving whether they bought butter. Walk down a residential street, knock on all the even number addresses, and interview whoever answers the door about what brand of toothpaste they use. Walk straight across a forested area using a geopositioning system to guide yourself. Stop every 100 meters, identify the nearest tree with a circumference of at least 1 meter, and write down what species it is. Or, for example, if you are working with files in a filing cabinet, point every 10th record as you go through those filing systems. All right, come back in the next video and we'll look at those stratified and cluster samples.